So welcome to World Pork Expo. I'm outside the Hog Slat tent here with their different equipment demonstration. We're going to talk about gestation crates. Well, obviously, as we all know, with Prop 12 hitting, this is the traditional gestation crate that we have. And we have to eventually go to open access providing. So they've designed the crates to get the same benefits of this, but also enhance the welfare of the sows. And if we can look here as before we head over to the free access stall and the changes that we can see some different things that I'd like to talk about from a nutrition perspective. This is a very popular feeder for lactation. It's called the SowMax Ad Lib sow feeder. You put the feed in here, or you set your auger line up to automatically fill that. It has a trigger here, the sows drop it. To me, when I look at this system, there are some knockoffs, but I prefer the SowMaxes. So you get a lot less feed wastage with this type of feeder. You don't get the clogs with a tube feeder that you would have go in here. And some of the other things here kind of look at the shape of that bowl of really enhancing that sow to eat that up and not waste as much. You can kind of see it more. This is designed for a wet dry feeder shelf system here with the Hog Max. So you can utilize it in a dry feeder situation or the wet dry, where the access to the water nipple is in that feeder. And you can see if you did not want the Hog Max from a cost perspective, even though that is what I would recommend in their product line, that you have the tube feeders. So you can see here, you have some different options to design to maximize feed intake. But from the research and different facilities I worked with, this is the product I would recommend over the tube feeder. We come over here to our wean to finish feeders. This is a shelf wet dry feeder here. So the idea is the pigs have to work the feeder here. They fill it with the water. The key to this, if you haven't read my recent article in Pig Progress, to be successful with wet dry feeders when we look at feed efficiency, is really to make sure that this is the only water source for the pig. And that's kind of the misnomer. We listen to some different podcasts and experts out there. They suggested that it improves feed to gain. Doesn't improve feed to gain. I'm sorry. It improves average daily gain. But some of the research I've done in different companies I've worked with, if you can make sure that this is your only source of water, you can also get that feed efficiency. If you weren't looking at the wet dry for some reason, of course, they also have their product lines here. The traditional. This is more of a nursery feeder here setup, so a dry feeder situation. And in the nurseries, you don't really want to use a wet dry feeder per se because of that lactose. It gets really sticky and starts clogging. You can come on in here. They got nice adjustable arms here, so when you're setting up your SOPs and stuff, this is a really good design because you can make it standardized. You can set your SOPs, that number, every individual personnel can come in and be very successful with how to operate this feeder. There's no guesswork. You can see also here some of their products on the water bowl. So again, for a nursery, to reduce water waste and make sure everybody stays hydrated, because not every pig can learn how to use this right away. So when we think about young pigs, the pigs that struggle, there'll always be water left over in the bowl. So this is another good feature of this. We're changing that shape so it makes it more that ability for those pigs to get a head in. And I would even say with that one, you probably get 2 pigs in there that can drink at the same time. And let's head over to the free access stall here. So as we all know, with the California Prop 12, we're going to have to go to all open access. But there comes some challenges with sows. Breeding is one of those situations that you really need to crate that animal for the safety of the human and to get a good conception rate. I've bred in open pens, I've bred with boars, I've bred AI, I've managed boar studs, and really kind of optimize that. You really need a crate. So when we talk about these free access stalls here, some really nice design features. The sow walks in, it's going to get locked, and then when she backs out, she's going to hit this bar and it's going to open up. So really nice mechanism, really good parts, really good thoughtful design on that. So this is their new version of that free access stall. When we started out the video over here, you saw that water trough. So you can still retrofit with this crate and change out the components with a trough waterer if you had that, or if you didn't want a trough, you could have the individual feed bowls. But so you can retrofit with what you have. Same kind of footprint here, gives that option to retrofit. Something else I wanted to point out here, when we talked about water, a lot of times as a nutritionist we talk about feed, but if my animals aren't drinking, I have a problem. So this is what's really interesting on this feature. So this is that wet dry feeder that I talked about. So in a wean to finish barn, we'd have these waters shut off in the nursery part and then open that up. And so they devised this system here, a water bar. So multiple pigs can drink, so they're really getting that access. I'd like to see a trough put underneath there because you're still going to get water waste compared to a bowl there. But definitely a nice invention to make sure we're enhancing that water take, because if pigs drink, they're going to eat. And so working through that. So some nice and changes here. The Hercules, you know, if I have to do this, this is what I want to have, but I've had to drag out a lot of dead sows. So look at some of these features here. When we talk about employees being efficient with their time and use, this is probably one of the best pieces of equipment you can get for harnessing deads and removing mortality.
This is Scott Bout with Hog Slat's marketing group, and the new product that we have this year at the show is the fall arrest system. We really think this is going to have an impact on producers because it helps protect one of their most important assets, the people that work there. And what the fall arrest system does is each bin will have a cable system that's attached to the top with a spring loaded to keep tension on it, and then you simply attach the rope grab and it slides up and down. The rope, as you go up, it slides up. If you ever, when you're coming down or if you fall, it actually, when you go below center line, it stops. And it actually doesn't prevent falls, it just prevents serious injuries when someone does fall. And there's, basically you'll have a harness system that'll go with the producer from bin to bin, and then this harness system.
So with this, can you retrofit any existing feed bin today with this system?
Oh, absolutely, and that's one of the things that we're trying to target is the fact that OSHA has said that the cage systems are no longer adequate fall arrest. So really, what is OSHA compliant right now would be this arrest system like this.
So this is what's driving that need, is to be OSHA compliant.
Right.
And let me see if I can try it, because little hands. So I'm just going to pull the lever there. Right? And it's going to slide out.
Yep. There it goes.
So even for little people like me, I'm going to hook that in. And I'm sure I'd get faster with time if I had to climb it. But yeah, this really nice harness system. Really, I love the focus. I've been preaching to the choir. I come to World Pork this week, and we're finally designing and innovating for the people in our industry and our employees. And it's the most valuable asset we have. And so I appreciate you focusing on this and bringing a product to market that's going to keep our employees safe.
Yeah, we think it's going to be a real important product.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you. Live from World Pork at the Hog Slat booth.